News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Diego Castro, bringing you the biggest headlines from around the world. Israel and Hamas have agreed to a two-day extension of a truce in the Gaza Strip. According to a senior Israel official, under the agreement, Hamas will release 10 hostages each day over the next 2 days. Qatar, the United States, and Egypt have engaged in intense negotiations to establish and prolong the truce in Gaza, which mediators had said was designed to be broadened and expanded. Over the course of the initial truce, a total of 50 civilian captives, mostly women and children, were expected to be freed by Hamas. In exchange, 150 Palestinian prisoners held by Israel were to be released and more humanitarian aid allowed into Gaza. The United Nations described the extended truce as a glimpse of hope, but warned that it may not be enough to deliver all the aid needed in war-torn areas in the Gaza Strip.
It's a glimpse of hope and humanity in the middle of the darkness of war. And I strongly hope that this will enable us to increase even more the humanitarian aid to the people in Gaza that is suffering so much, knowing that even with that additional amount of time, it will be impossible to satisfy all the dramatic needs of the population in Gaza.
More hostages are set to be released following the extended truce between Israel and Hamas. But what else could arrive from the two-day extension? The details in this report by Associated Press correspondent in Jerusalem, Sam Mednick.
The ceasefire has been extended by 2 more days. What that means is that there will be no fighting for 2 days and an additional 20 hostages will be released, 10 per day. This was announced by Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs on Monday, which said that both sides, Israel and Hamas, agreed to the terms of this deal. So far, there have been 58 hostages released, among them 39 Israelis. There is expected to be an additional 11 hostages released on Monday and 33 Palestinian prisoners. But there are still estimated to be about 175 hostages that remain in Gaza. There has been a mix of emotions during this 4-day truce while there has been hostages released and prisoners released. In Israel, people have lined the streets welcoming the hostages home. Families have had emotional reunifications at hospitals. Staff at the hospitals have said for the most part people are in good condition. There was one girl who was shot in the leg and required surgery. An elderly woman was in very critical condition and had to be rushed immediately to the hospital. The families whose hostages still remain say that it's bittersweet for them, and they are putting increasing pressure on the government to make sure that they continue to get their people out. On the Palestinian side, people were honking in the streets and rejoicing. A lot of the prisoners who were released were teenagers and women who had been held by Israel for minor offenses such as throwing stones or disturbing the public peace. Now, however long this ceasefire continues to go on for, Israel has made it very clear that once it is over, they are going to continue the war effort. They are going to go into Gaza. They say their aims are to eradicate Hamas and to make sure that all the hostages are returned.
Elon Musk visits Israel after drawing flack for his endorsement of an anti-Semitic post. Musk, who owns the social media platform X, toured the site of the Hamas assault with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. During his visit, he also declared his commitment to do whatever was necessary to stop the spread of hatred. The social media mogul also watched footage of the October 7 attack assembled from Hamas's body cams, CCTVs, and other sources. On November 15, Musk agreed with a post that falsely claimed Jewish people were stoking hatred against white people. Following the post, major U.S. companies like Walt Disney and Warner Brothers suspended their ads on X. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on the One News. You're still watching One News Now World. I'm Diego Castro. The United Nations ambassadors of the US and North Korea sparred at the Security Council. The 15-member body met on Monday over Pyongyang's spy satellite launch on November 21. At the end of the meeting, the two envoys engaged in dueling rights of reply, each arguing that their countries are acting defensively. U.S. Ambassador Thomas Greenfield rejected North Korea's claim, saying that U.S. exercises are routine and announced in advance. North Korean Ambassador Kim Song, meanwhile, said it is right for them to develop weapons equivalent to those that the U.S. already possesses. The suspect in the shooting of 3 Palestinian college students in Vermont pleads not guilty on 3 counts of attempted second-degree murder. The 48-year-old suspect, Jason Eaton, appeared at an arraignment via a remote video feed from the county jail where he has been held since his arrest on Sunday. Following his plea, the judge ordered Eaton to be held without bond. The attack is under investigation by local and federal authorities as a suspected hate crime. Police say Eaton used a pistol to shoot them on the street near the University of Vermont and then ran away. The 3 victims remained under medical care, with 2 in stable condition, while 1 sustained more serious injuries. Let's now take a quick look at other world stories we're watching. 20 people were killed and nearly 2,000 inmates escaped during attacks on military barracks, prison, and other locations in Sierra Leone. The government blames renegade soldiers that it said had been repelled. The World Health Organization says the spike in respiratory illnesses in China is not as high as before the COVID-19 pandemic. It explains that this is not an indication of a new or unusual pathogen. And around 100 people gathered at a hotel near Seoul hoping to find love. They were participants of a mass blind dating event hosted by Seongnam City, an attempt to reverse a falling birth rate in the country. And those are the top world headlines of the hour. Join us again at 9:45 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News, all sides, all the time.